Hello, everybody. I hope you all are able to stay fed and stay safe, and I hope you all are having a good day or night or whatever it is for you. I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about dealing with other people and dealing with other people's personalities and or traits to be able to assimilate into the world in a healthy manner. And so that's just another way of saying dealing with other people and learning to coexist. Whenever you interact with other people within the world, there's a possibility that oftentimes you're going to run into people that you don't agree with and you actually clash with and or butt heads with. A lot of times also when dealing with other people, we forget that everybody has their own problems. I oftentimes try to remember that everybody has a journey. Everybody also has problems in life, including myself. Sometimes when people come up to me in a difficult manner and or in a disrespectful manner, I step outside of my ego and try to understand what's happening. Sometimes people change. Not only do people change, sometimes people are dealing with things on the inside, which makes it difficult for them to be polite still. You've got people that have toxic relationships, families, jobs. Sometimes the entire family and or job isn't toxic, but just certain aspects of it. Maybe you have a disrespectful or a rude boss or a disrespectful coworker. Well, when dealing with those disrespectful people, sometimes it's easy for people to take their anger and or pain out on you. And so essentially what's happening is they don't necessarily not like you. They are dealing with an angry spirit at the time moment and or dealing with pain or torment. People lose family members, people lose loved ones, people break up in relationships, people are dealing with problems in the real world, problems that we all deal with. You know, a lot of times we go into the Bible and go, oh, the powers that be, the darkness. But then we forget that everybody has their own journey and other people are dealing with darkness also. A healthy trait to have in life is to be understanding. The more understanding I am, although I understand that I have my own ego, the more understanding that I am, the more accepting I will be of other people and or certain situations within my life. I could see something belittling, and so I won't use the word racism. I could see a man talk to another man in a certain manner. Then when I see him talk to another man of a different ethnicity and or stature, we could even say poor. If I see somebody talking to a poor man differently, I notice that the reason that that person isn't receiving that same respect is because of an extenuating factor. We'll call it scientific reasoning. Sometimes when dealing with the professional world and or when dealing with the public, I notice certain personality traits and I notice certain spirits that people will become enveloped with. When I talk about spirits, I'm not talking about magic. I like to explain for a moment what I believe a spirit is, for me personally. If you walk into a room full of Christmas decorations, you then are enveloped with the Christmas spirit, like the Christmas tree and the presents and, you know, the idea of Santa Claus and Elf on the Shelf and all those different lores. You then get the Christmas spirit. When you walk into a house party or a club, you feel the dancing, you want to drink and have a good time and have fun. That's the clubbing spirit, the partying spirit, having a good time partying. When you then walk into a church or a chapel or a temple, you behave differently. You have a different kind of spirit. Some call it the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of religion, righteousness. To me, if you step outside of your comfort zone and pay attention to people's actions, you'll start to notice the spirit. I'm not trying to create a legion of magic shadow workers, or magical holy men. I am simply telling you all that spirits of things affect people differently. Take a pack of cigarettes. You take a heavy smoker and put a pack of cigarettes on the table, and you take somebody who's a smoker, and then you take somebody who's not a smoker and sit them side by side. Those two are going to have different reactions because of their experience, because of the chemicals that the brain releases, because of their lusts, their risk versus rewards. When I say lust, I don't mean that as like a negative thing. I'm just talking about what they desire after. You now move the pack of cigarettes away and put a delicious meal there, and those two men might feel differently. The smoker might feel differently about the food than the non-smoker. That's the spirit of something. That's simply giving a simple explanation to something much deeper and scientific, but then I could call it the spirit of food. I brought all that up to say this. I see the spirits of people and how people behave. I see the chemical reactions that are released by people when dealing with different people. So if a millionaire and a bum are both sitting on a couch and a person has a knowledge of their financials, the person that is the person that is dealing with those two might treat the millionaire differently than the poor man. Although money actually doesn't mean anything in a realm of actual survival, that money outside of the institution of the bureaucracy of America and or society, that money doesn't mean anything. Food does. Air. Um, I'm going to go deeper. Men versus women. The spirit of men differs from the spirit of women. Obviously, we're two different creatures, although we're the same species. The brain and the body releases totally different hormones and chemicals for a woman than it does for a man. Those chemicals are driving factors into our lusts and desires. We'll call them basic instincts. When people tell people to know themselves and then go super right field into the spirit, they have no idea what they're talking about. Because I can't know myself if I physically don't know myself. So there are two sides to every story. So just as good as it is to be spiritual, don't be holier than thou. The flesh is just as important as the spirit. When you ban yourself from doing all this unnecessary stuff for the spirits, you then forsake not the flesh, you're forsaking the flesh. When I say that, I'm not teaching people to go do orgies. I'm not teaching people to overindulge and overeat and become gluttons and do all those types of things. Certain things are sins, but to the individual, to their perspective and experience. So, with that being said, alcohol may be a great sin to one man and nothing at all to another. For Jesus served wine at the supper, the party, the wedding. Now go even deeper. The spirit of how men oppressed women in the past has got to change. Although, be it, I am not now giving women authority to rule over men. I am simply saying that we are equals and that we should love each other as such. So if I don't want people to rule over me and smack me over the head with a mallet as a judge, we shouldn't do that to women as well. Although a hierarchy exists for a reason. When I say that, I'm not saying because men are over women. I'm saying we each have a role to play in this physical nature of life and in the spirit. I am being honest. I am more comforted by women. I feel it's the sound of their voice, the comforting nature that they give off, the motherhood from my mother. Men, I feel more secure, safe. If I'm going to go fight, I feel like I would like men behind me. But if I'm needing comforting, I feel like I get consoled by my women, mother, that type of thing. That is my personal belief. I am not the holy God of all beliefs. So, with that being said, Um, I believe women can work. I believe men can take care of the home, but I am not coming to switch things around. I am just comforting those who do live like that. Um, Now, even deeper, race. There is prejudice that exists, and I am not calling any of you anything for prejudice. Let me explain. My history teacher taught me this years ago. Um, the same one that threw the flag down and got in a bunch of trouble for that, but she was a great teacher. I liked her a lot. I like her a lot. Um, Everybody has a level of prejudice or a form of prejudice. Just like we are to die to sin, just like we are to die to our old selves, we sacrifice the way we used to think, feel, to now become better. It's called the Holy Spirit. So basically, I could go around being terrified of Caucasians because of the knowledge that I was given. And I could be terrified of the police, which I do have some level of fear for the police because just, my experience. I've had guns pulled out on me twice, and both times were terrifying. But I'm still alive. I complied. So, with that being said, I'm not disrespecting anybody who's died because there are many people, as I've said, who comply and die. And it's unfair and it's sad. But with me being a living witness, I can now testify to these things. There is a level of fear towards the African American community, Africans, Hispanics, Chinese, the darker skin race people. There is a level of fear about us. I'm going to speak on Judaism and Jewish people. There is a level of hatred for Jewish people because of how people feel about Jesus. I don't understand it. Although yet there is a level of it that I understand because of false religion. But at the same time, we need to break these old barriers like sledgehammers to old walls and start to accept each other and learn how to come together and not fear each other anymore. Because fear leads people to do strange and terrible and scary things. But love allows people to move forward. Even if you look at the melting pot of America, the reason why I get so upset when people talk about people of color, because people of color were enslaved and built this country and were treated horribly. And then in this day and age, we weren't given any reparations or anything like that. And we are still in the ghettos. A lot of people are still in the ghettos that they haven't been able to escape out of. They try to destroy African American families, even regular families, with all the divorces at 50% now. And then they're giving women all these rights over men, which is unbiblical, even in the sense of the Bible. I don't listen. What I am saying is there needs to be a change. There needs to be a making of our hearts great again, in the sense that we don't falter and that we can stand strong on peace and love. I see people with personalities and identities of like, I'm cold, I'm hard, leather jackets and sagging pants, and I'm a gangster. That doesn't help anything. I understand we all have an ego, but until we slowly begin to mold into something different, into something more, then the world won't possibly change, and we're going to pass these negative feelings down to the children. The hatred from the beast, the false prophet, and the dragon will then leak into the children. That's what that serpent. I see a lot of pictures in religion, like art, where there's like a serpent at the beginning and it's slithering through all these things in time. That's basically the serpent constricting our love. We all feel like, oh, the world's cold, so I got to be cold. Okay, when I look at it as a fortress. And so then I protect myself within and then radiate love to the best of my ability. I know I'm a human being and I can be pushed to wrath. Even the Bible says, don't push a man to wrath. But at the same time, I remember that I'm like a fortress and I try my hardest to stay strong and protect the righteousness within. Protect my heart, protect my mind, body, and soul, and then give my neighbors that same peace and love that I am enveloped with. It's a hard journey. It's hard. As I was saying earlier or before, when you deal with different people in the world, they're not just some devil or demon. That's an ideology I can't stand. Although they can behave like one, they are not. They are a human being. They are just possible. They are hurt, broken, sad, enraged, infuriated. You ever, as a living human being, listen to these people say, if you do this, you'll be a millionaire. If you apply yourself, if you speak it into existence, if you pray hard enough, if you just be the goodest of the good, everything good will come to you, and nothing good comes. It's because it's your job to try your hardest to appreciate and stay strong and move forward. Because I'm not saying this to be another one of them self-help gurus. I'm saying this to tell you that if everybody else is heinous, then it's up to you to try to be good to the best of your ability. That's where that strength comes in. That's where it's like people feel like if they do negative things, then positivity will come to them. That's a backwards, that's a backwards, that's a negative personality trait to have because we reward negativity. Even if you watch movies, the good guys now are bad guys. They're usually like prisoners or something that break out and then save the world. It's like a constant spiral of negativity. I heard that when India was making Spider-Man, they refused to write in the story that Spider-Man was bullied for being a nerd or being smart because that's illogical. That's anti-logic. Why do you bully people for being intelligent? Other people in the world can't understand our ways. We're free-willing, waking ourselves into foolishness because the whole world is talking about being woke in this day and age. 20 years ago, I was beat up, ridiculed, and people wouldn't even drink after me at the water fountain. Not because of racism, because I had Tourette's syndrome and made noise. Blacks and whites came together and called me names and beat me the hell up all the time. So anybody that has the nerve to call me a narcissist has no idea who I am and has no idea how strong I am with my journey with God. Nor do they know how badly I've been ridiculed throughout my life. There was just the judgments. There was a man that got on my videos one time and was like, you blink a lot, and then posted a long scripture about blinking, not knowing that I have Tourette's syndrome and tics. So he just judged me for no reason at all based on a physical ailment that I have. That's what the Pharisees and scribes did, making people lay at the bottom of pool pits, trying to crawl into the water to the best of their ability with no help at all, while everybody's beating them up to get to the water first. That's basically how we're treating people, how we're treating the broken and the sick and the poor. The stories I hear about what happened to orphans and widows makes me sick to my fucking stomach. So I just think, because we all think, I just think that maybe with my energy and time, I can make the world a little bit better, speak to people. This can be like JB's Speaker Corner, JB and Dracula's podcast, JB's Happily Woke Semporium. I don't know. Or call me Hannon if you want. I don't care. The point is, whatever you call me, just make sure you stay positive. Because what you call me now is going to come back and call you later. If that makes sense. This is karma, the balance, where the Bible even came from, the 44 laws of the Ma'at. But woe to the man that goes back to Egypt, because I don't want to know those practices. This is the year 2023. I want to move forward. So let's stay positive. Let's stay strong. You all are worth it. You all are living souls. White people, don't let that white guilt eat you. You all were slaves too back in 43 AD. From 43 all the way up to like the 700s. And then even after that, the Germans enslaved Angleland, because it was England and Ireland. And then they made England the place it is today. A lot of the British and the Britons were attacked by the Germanic pagans and the Romans and the Grecians. Like there's a whole bunch of civil wars. I call it civil war because that's all Europe. And then after that, they turned the Europeans into savages and then basically started attacking Britain and Ireland. And then Ireland got the brunt force blow of it. And then Germany and France went nuts throughout the Middle Ages. And then everybody was a victim at some point. So let's stop doing all that. The white did, the black did, the yellow did. Let's just come together, man. And, you know, oh, all you cigarette smokers out there, I'll try to give you a safe alternative, CBD. It doesn't give you the psychoactive effects of marijuana, but you can get all the basic positivities, the loosening of the muscles, the relaxation, the all that stuff without the psychoactive effects of THC. It's CBD. So those things are in vapes now and all type of stuff. I'm telling you, CBD is really what I'm about to start smoking. I have a CBD pen and I'm smoking it now. And now when I go to smoke a cigarette, I kind of get sick. It's like, ooh, CBD is much better. So I'm not advertising for an institution. This is for health reasons. Please stop smoking as fast as you can. If you can't, just keep trying to, there's hypnotherapy, there's nicotine patches, gum, vapes, doctors, helplines. Okay, so back to those statistics. Before I said 65% of people, 5% of people quit cold turkey. And of those 5%, 65% go back to smoking. So that's what I meant to say. It's very hard, but you are strong. You got this. Stay beautiful, stay humble. In this life of powers that be, just try to listen to me. Your fortune in a cookie be quick. No longer be made sick. Vomit the aftermath of our forefathers' lore, so we no longer shop in Satan's store. And then the things that we have in store can be from the Lord forevermore, so that when our Father rests, we no longer have to test. And then like Toadstool, we're the best, number one, nothing less. Because if you ain't first, you're last, and I ain't ready to take that kind of bath. And I think I'll just be a light in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle. I might be a little shy guy. Yeah. Have a beautiful night or day.